I'm going to show you two ways that you can easily create a reflection effect, or it's almost like a mirror effect with your lettering. So in rotational symmetry, like we did in this video, you can read the word rotate any way that the paper is facing, but in reflection, it says reflect here, but if I were to flip it upside down, it's the reverse. So it's a little bit different than rotational symmetry, but it's still really easy. All you need is either tracing paper or a light pad, and we'll just go ahead and get started. So I have my word written here. I just wrote it with a brush pen, and I wrote it along the edge of a piece of paper to be my baseline. And one important thing to note about this is I like to avoid words that have descenders, so anything that goes below the baseline here, like a G or a J. It doesn't work as well with this technique. So for this F, for example, normally I would make the F go below the baseline, but I'm trying to keep everything above the baseline here. So you could use a ruler to draw a straight baseline, and right on that, I just wrote on the edge of a piece of paper. And then the next step is going to be getting a straight line on the piece of paper that you'll end up writing on. So I just folded this in half, but if you have a ruler and on hand, that would work well too. So if you don't have a light pad, then you'll want to use a piece of tracing paper. I am using a light pad, so this is just regular paper. So I'm going to turn my light pad on in the background. And now the light is shining up through it. So when I put this word reflect behind my piece of paper, I'm going to be able to see it really well. All right, so I am purposely lining up the edges of the papers together here, and then I'm also trying to line up my baseline for the word reflect with the crease that I have on my paper. So I'm just trying to get really straight and accurate here. All right, so then the next step is pretty simple. I'm just going to trace over the word reflect and using the same pen, and I'm going to try really hard to get an exact copy here. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to take this piece of paper and flip it this way, and then I'll put it back under here. The reason that I lined up the edges here is now it's really easy for me to line up the edges again and know that these are going to be reflected exactly across here. If I had this kind of out in the middle of nowhere with no other reference, then I would have to try really hard to make the letters match up on the bottom. But having this reference point of the edge of the paper makes it super easy for me to see exactly where I need to put this. Okay. And then again, trying to line up the edge of this paper with the crease. Now this is a little strange because I'm tracing this basically upside down letters, so you can kind of do it however you want. I'm still trying to make my downs thick, so it's a little bit harder to do. And now I have a reflection of this word. So you could try doing something like writing this reflection piece in like a gray, and then it would look more like a shadow than a reflection. It looks kind of neat when you hold it sideways like this. I think that looks really cool, or even this way. But now we have a reflection instead of rotation. So another way that you could do this, if you wanted, if you only wanted to write this once and you didn't need to kind of plan it out ahead of time, I'll just do a short word. I'll do hi. You could write it directly on your piece, fold it in half, turn on the light pad, or if you're using tracing paper, this would just be done with tracing paper. And then you can try to trace through it. The only problem is it's a little bit harder to see because you're essentially going through 2 layers of paper now instead of how we had it before. Plus, I kind of like to see the reference point up here of what I'm writing. But when you do it this way, you only have to write it twice instead of 3 times. So there's another option for you. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button below and be sure to subscribe so that you can see more videos just like this. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.